Hi guys, it's that time of the year. It's the end of the year. It's my favourite albums of 2022. I don't think it could have got any harder than picking these albums. I went for 25 albums, guys. I could have gone for so much more. I wanted to talk about 80 albums. 80. These albums, have been on rotation for the year. So some have got, more listens than others, but I've got to say that almost, I always say, and I've probably said on a lot of my videos, there's so much music, almost too much music. And I know that sounds terrible, but I'm trying to capture everything that, appeals to me. And it's so hard. It's so hard to give time with everything that goes on in everybody's lives to give these albums a real listen like, we used to back in the day. I might have had like 10 albums on rotation during, the 80s when, it's a folding albums, it's just a different thing now. So those 10 albums would constantly get played, my favourite albums in, every year in 1980, say. And you would know every little note, every little nuance of music. You knew when it was coming in, you knew every lyric. It's just, I could sing them now off by heart from track 1 to probably track 10, what it was back then on albums. It's different now. I think, as far as I can remember, 2022 on my playlist, because I rotate the albums all year, I think I had about over 100 hours of music, that I touched upon in 2022. And it's so hard to give every single song and every album the listen that they deserve. So my list is my list. And to tell you the truth, I probably haven't spent enough time on a lot of this music than I should have had. And in the coming years, this list could change. It's just a simple fact, especially some of the new stuff that's just come out. It's, I haven't had much time with it, and it's so hard to judge or get my list together. I've found it so hard. I've been spending quite a lot of time thinking about my list, and this is it. But before I get onto my 25 albums, I just want to go through some honourable mentions. I did that last year, just by the name of the band that brought out great music this year. And I'm just going to literally say the name of the band, guys. And these are the ones, because there's another list as well that probably are brilliant albums, but not quite made it. These bands that I'm going to mention, their albums were on the fringes of my top 25, so could have made it in there. So these are the ones that are really close. Nordic Union, The New Roses, About Us, Evil, Still Arctus, Jaded Hard, Seventh Storm, Generation Radio, Eruption, Love in Chains, Skid Row, Perfect Plan, Giant, Riot City, Black Swan, Treat, Sapphire, Odd Crew, Cardang, Clean Break, Ashes of Aries, Saxon, Crystal Ball, Fellskin, Find Me, Ronnie Atkins, and The Brave. So there you have it. They are the ones that, I was thinking of doing a top 50 or whatever. They would have made it in my top 50. It's just that I've got to try to get 25 somehow. Otherwise, I'll be doing this video and it'll take all fucking day. So here we go with my top 25 albums from 25 to 1. So guys, as you probably guessed, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on each album, just talking about it for literally a few seconds. So number 25, Candlemass and Sweet Evil Sun, Swedish epic doom metal band, 13th studio album, riffs, doomy riffs, very Sabbathy, classic band, been around for a lot of years, obviously. Some of my best tracks are Wizards of the Vortex, Sweet Evil Sun, and Scandinavian Gods. Number 24, Megadeth, The Sick, The Dying, and The Dead. American thrash band, obviously very famous. Dave Mustaine fronts them. 16th studio album, love this album. The singles are amazing on this. The title track, Night Stalkers, will be back as some of the best songs this year for sure. Next up, we got Iconic and Second Skin. This is number 23, debut album. Hopefully there'll be another album, very Whitesnake-esque. Supergroup, I mean, you can't get no more super than this. You've got Michael Sweet, Joel Hoekstra, Tommy Aldridge, Nathan James, Marco Mendoza. Amazing album. Fast As You Can, Second Skin, All I Need are some of my favourite tracks on here. Number 22, Trauma, Awakening, American thrash band. This is only their fourth album, although they had their first album out in 1984 with Cliff Burton from Metallica in there before he left for Metallica. Vocalist Brian Allen is one of the best vocalists out there. So much aggression in his voice, can hit any height. Brilliant. Some of my favourite songs are Walk Away and Meet. Amazing singles. Next up, number 21. This sort of was a 2021 album, but it officially came out was released worldwide because I think it was just in Japan in 2021. Right at the beginning of the year, Out of This World. That was the name of the band, and this is a self-titled debut album. Another supergroup, AOR, melodic rock. This features Key Marcello from Europe, Tommy Hart from Fair Warning. I love this album. Reminds me of Journey in a lot of ways. Some of my favourite songs are In a Million Years, Staring at the Sun, Holding On. Amazing album. Then we go for number 20, Mad Max and Wings of Time, German rock band. This is their 15th album. This is some real Dokken-esque sort of songs on here, although, I mean, they've been going a long time, nearly as long as Dokken, so, you know, to say they take influence, they may do, but some of the riffs are just very Dokken-esque. I love them. In this band, you've got Axel Krudes, he's the only founding member. Michael Voss left the band a little while ago, and they got a brilliant singer in called Julian Rollinger, just blows this album out of the water. A Woman Like That, Heroes Never Die, Days of Passion are amazing songs. Next up we have number 19, it's Zadra and Guiding Star. This was a Frontiers release, the debut album from this brilliant musician. He's worked with Dennis DeYoung in his solo band. This is AOR, melodic rock, hard rock. Absolutely really brilliant, clever songwriting. Some of my favourite tracks are A Matter of Yesterday, Come Back to Me, and Nothing More to Say. Number 18 in my list is Saint and Heaven Fell, Christian metal band from the US. Some of this reminds me of classic Maiden, even Iced Earth. Some of the real dark overtones in the music here, I love it. The first album came out in 1984. This is, like I said, a dark metal album. It's actually intricate, it's brilliant, it's catchy. Holier Than Thou, Chosen One, and the title track are some of the brilliant tracks on this album. Moving on to number 17, Ginevra, We Belong to the Stars. Another supergroup, debut album on Frontiers, of course. The band consists of Magnus Carlsen of Primal Fear, Jimmy J of Heat, Magnus Olstedt of Nordic Union, Christian Fair from Seven Crystal. So, man, some brilliant musicians across this album. I love Christian Fair as well. I'm a massive fan. Some of the songs on here, Apologise, Fall Into Pieces, Sirens Calling. It's a real heavy album, but it's really melodic and catchy at the same time. Number 16, the band Saints and Sinners, and the album Rise of the Alchemist. This is a melodic metal band, epic sounding. This is only their second album and it sounds absolutely huge. I love this album. Some of the outstanding tracks are Death Comes in Winter, the title track, 12 minutes long, that one, As Above, So Below, great tracks. The songs that really appeal to me are the sort of medium paced or the more epic sort of tracks. There's some fast songs on here, very Halloween-esque, but I think if some of those tracks I'm talking about, my favourites, if it was littered with more of them, this could be in my top 3 or 5 probably. So I'm not a fast-paced song fan, so there you go. Number 15, Fear Not, Fields of Sorrow. American Christian metal band, very southern sounding. The production is huge on this. Guitars are just all over this. They've got a new vocalist called Eddie Green. I think he might have been on an EP as well a little while back, but man, this is a heavy album, but it's melodic. It just hits you right there. Riptide, Struggle, Fields of Sorrow, some of the singles, I think all those, but amazing album throughout. Number 14, one of my bands that I've been a fan of since they came out, Alter Bridge and the album Pawns and Kings. This is the 7th album from this US band, a real return to form as far as I'm concerned. Not that their last 2 albums are bad, it's just that they almost have gone back to form to where they was beforehand. The production is a bit better for Michael Basquet. Still not amazing for me. I mean, I would have preferred another producer to come in, but it still sounds pretty fucking good. Some of my favourite tracks are This Is War, Fable of the Silent Sun, and Sin After Sin. Then we move on to number 13, the band called Spitfire and Denial to Fall. Greek metal band. Their first album came out in 1987, and they've come back after all those years. I think it's their 2nd album. Brilliant metal album, very Metallica-esque, but really sort of raw and heavy, but it sounds huge. Some of my favourite tracks are Wasted, Denial to Fall, and the brilliant Unholy. Number 12, Girish and the Chronicles, Howl to the Heroes. Indian metal band, really gaining popularity on Frontiers. Their 3rd album, heavy, energetic, reminds me of Skid Row, Steelheart, you know, some of the best albums back in the 80s, if you like, and the early 90s. Primeval Desire, Howl to the Heroes, Lover's Train, brilliant songs. Number 11, City of Lights and Before the Sun Sets. This is a debut album from this Frontiers project, if you like. Neil Austin, it's his project. He's an English guy, and he's got a vocalist in called Manos Fatsis, who makes a brilliant performance on this album. A brilliant choice of vocalist. Also on this is Robin Eriksson and Mats Eriksson of Degreed. So that's cool. They appear on this album as well. This is sort of AOR, but really guitar-driven, heavier stuff. It's amazing stuff. I love this album. Racing on the Red Line, Heat of the Night, and the brilliant Hearts on Fire are some of the standout tracks. Hardcore Superstar and Abracadabra is my number 10. This is the 12th album from this Swedish hard rock sleazy band. Man, I love this album. This is my first real introduction to Hardcore Superstar, and that's a bit sad, I know, but it is. I love the production on this album. It's punchy, it's got attitude. The album has in general, the band has in general. It's catchy, but it's heavy. Some of the standout tracks are Weep When You Die, Throw a Brick, and Forever and a Day. Number 9, bit of fresh now, Zentrix and 7 Words. British thrash band formed in 1984. This is only their 6th studio album. This is just a riff fest. Heaviness, riff, almost a Bay Area sort of thrash groove to this band. But the production is just mental. It just hits you right there. Just, you know, a brilliant sounding album. Remind me of this band, remind me of Testament, Death Angel, bands like that. A bit of Megadeth, I would say. Behind the Walls of Treachery, The Altar of Nothing, Everybody Loves You When You're Dead are some of the standout tracks. The thrash album of the year for me. Number 8, Wolf and Shadowland. This is a real grower for me. I love this album from the beginning, but the more I listen to it, the more I love it. Swedish metal band formed in 1995. This is their 9th album. Sort of a new wave of British heavy metal feel. Remind me a little bit of Metal Church sometimes. Maybe they remind me a little bit of Crimson Glory. Not a massive, but a little bit sometimes in their music. Some of the standout tracks on here are Dust, Shadowland, Rasputin, the ill-fated Mr. Maldrake. And this band can really tell a story as well. They're brilliant. Next up, number 7, it's Heat and Force Majeure. I was worried about this album. No need to worry at all. Swedish hard rock band, 7th album. The reason I was worried, Eric Gromwell left the band, as everyone knows, went into Skid Row. Kenny Lacremo joined the band, used to be their oldest singer. I was worried about it not being an energetic album. The songwriting I was worried about, but no, it just ticks all those boxes. One of their best albums, actually. Some of the songs on here I love are Hollywood, Wings of an Aeroplane, Tainted Blood, but it's chock full of brilliant songs. Next up, number 6, Leatherwolf and Kill the Hunted. From the USA, 80s band, started off in the 80s. Dean Roberts is the only original member on the drums in this band. I mean, but man, you wouldn't know. I mean, they've got that sound that they had all the way back then, but like obviously propelled it even more. This is an aggressive album. It's inventive. Brilliant vocalist they got on this album called Keith Damiak. He's just aggressive, spits out those lyrics, amazing. Guitar playing is absolutely top notch on this album. This is their 6th album actually. Hit the Dirt, the title track and The Henchman are brilliant singles. The only thing about this album, guys, you have to, it's not available everywhere. I'll give this a load of listens when I got it sent to me. So the trouble with this is, as I am, running this channel and I have to listen to so much music, I can't afford to buy all this music. So the shame about this album is it won't be available to me in my rotation of albums, because that's how I listen to music now, sadly. But there you go. Number 5, Soraya Sign and Throne of Gold. Man, this blew me away, this album. It still does every time I hear it. This band are now with Frontiers, just been signed for Frontiers. Obviously, Frontiers listened to this debut album and thought, wow, and you can't blame them. They have really hit the jackpot getting this band. Swedish melodic metal. Jesper Lindberg is on the drums. It's his band, if you like, his concept. And this is a concept album. It's going to be 4 albums in total to tell this story, if you like. So this is the first one of 4. The next one is coming out this year, I believe. The songwriting, the musicianship. It's amazing. This is one brilliant listen, guys. You're going to love this. The Book of Wisdom, When Worlds Collide, If Only for a Moment, Sandman. Just 4 tracks that are just brilliant, but fit in with the rest of this brilliant album as well. Number 4, Crash Diet and Automaton. Now this is one amazing album. This blew me away, this album. This is my favourite album from Crash Diet, and they've made some brilliant albums. It's only their 6th album from this Swedish band. They've had a lot of bad luck, this band, in the past, and they bounced back from all that with an amazing listen. This is brilliant. Now, you know what? I've always thought that Crash Diet were almost, just under Eclipse and Heat as, the best bands in this genre coming out of Sweden. But this album has propelled them up there with those brilliant bands. I mean, for me, it's pipped Heat to the post this year. But, Heat is an amazing album as well. They brought an amazing album out, but this one, man, it's the best Swedish album out this year. And there's a lot of music coming out of Sweden, as you know. The singer Gabriel Key seems to have fitted in perfectly. I loved him on the last album, but this one, he just excels himself. Some of the brilliant tracks are Together Whatever, Shine On, Dead Crusade, and the excellent No Man's Land. Next up, album number 3 in my list is Stryper, The Final Battle. Man, I love Stryper. Probably one of my favourite bands at the moment, definitely, along with a few more. But this is their 14th studio album, US metal, Christian metal band. This is the 5th album since No More Hell to Pay, which is their run of albums that's just been absolutely amazing. They are better than ever. They are brilliant. I think in their last 5 albums, this is probably like my 3rd favourite, I would say. Even The Devil Believes just pips it, and No More Hell to Pay. There's something about No More Hell to Pay that just blows me away. But it could be on par with even The Devil Believes. It could, I reckon this will, with a few more listens, because it hasn't been out that long, I reckon it could actually overtake even The Devil Believes, and maybe just behind No More Hell to Pay. You never know, it could beat No More Hell to Pay, but it's an amazing album. To think all the shit that the band have been through this year as well, with Oz Fox and Michael not being well during the making of this album, and it just blows you away to think how consistent. It's easily the most consistent album they've ever produced. I like every song, so a brilliant effort by Stryper, The Final Battle. Number 2 might be a little bit of a surprise for a lot of people, but from the beginning, this has been of the year, where I think it came out a few months into the year, this has blown me away, and it's a grower. It grows and grows and grows every listen. And these have been actually signed by Frontiers. A bit of a surprising one for me, for Frontiers, because of the sort of band they are. They don't sound like the usual sort of Frontiers band. They're a brilliant band, and it's Screammaker and the album Blood King. This is their 4th album. They're a Polish band, which is very cool. Metal band, like I said, now with Frontiers. Amazing, heavy, melodic. And like I said, they grow on these songs grow on you, and they grow and they grow. This is just about to be released. It's been taken off of everywhere, off of streaming services, not available until Frontiers bring it out, I believe, this Friday. I could be wrong, but I believe it's this Friday, and I can't wait to get back to listening to it again. The album consists of Sebastian Stodolac. I just want to talk about his vocals. Wow, what a vocalist. I mean, man, he takes some of the best elements of some of the best vocalists you've ever heard and just mix it into one. I think he's like a mix of Dino Chalusic, Jeff Tate, and Lane Staley from Alice in Chains. It's amazing to listen to him. A brilliant album. It's at my number 2, and I mean, look where it is, and all the other bands that are on my list. So you've got to listen to this band, guys. It's aggressive, but it's really melodic, and like I said, there's loads of layers to peel back, and the melodic tunes, and they get you, and they get you. Once they got you, you're hooked. Mirror Mirror, Join the Mob, Brand New Start are amazing songs, but it's a long album as well, but every song is amazing. Moving on to my number 1, guys, and you might have guessed it anyway, it's Queensryche and Digital Noise Alliance. This is their 17th album, US American metal, could call them progressive metal, not too progressive, that's probably why I love them so much. This is the 4th album with Todd La Torre. It's the best album with Todd La Torre. And I didn't think Condition Human would be bettered for me. I love that album, but I think this one is just, I mean, they've hit just a peak of songwriting, and I think this is the album they've done, and it's just, man, I mean, anyone who says they're shit because they haven't got Jeff Tate, or they're shit because they haven't got Chris DeGarmo, wake the fuck up. This is one amazing album that takes those elements that they used to have, adds something else, that modern touch, because you don't want it to be a carbon copy. You want them to, to progress as a band. And man, this is one amazing album that blew me away from the time I heard In Extremis when it first came out. And I knew it was going to get a special album at that point. But every song has got something brilliant to say. There's no weakness on this album. In Extremis, Lost in Sorrow, Nocturnal Light, Forest, Tormentum, the brilliant Behind the Walls. It's just an album chock of brilliant Queensryche songs in that classic vein, but giving that modern touch as well. So that's it, guys. My top 25 albums. This year has been mental. I don't know if it's because I'm listening to more music now to capture everything, or it's as mad as it seemed this year. But it just seemed like one album after the other, sometimes 5 or 6 coming out one week on a Friday, and it's just been really hard to keep up. But it's been an amazing year. Guys, we're going to do another show. I'm going to do one with the Iridiots where we catch up on their favourite albums of the year, where they can do some, talk about what they recommend. That'll be coming very soon in the next couple of weeks. But love this year. It's been brilliant. Thanks for listening, guys, as well, all the way through this year. It's been a mental year, but we've got here. We've got here at the end. I will be doing my top songs, and there's a lot of songs that didn't make my albums, but they will. A song may make the top 20, 25. I haven't made my mind up yet. But thanks for listening, guys. Let me know what your favourite albums are of 2022 in the comments below, and I'll see you soon.